What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Dominate Every Aspect. This is episode number 3. Today, I wanted to talk about maintenance calories. So, another weekend, this is week 3 of dieting, and my weight went down a little bit, but not too much, even though I've been cutting my calories. And this is something that I've noticed that I've struggled with over the course of basically my dieting career, is that my weight doesn't necessarily move too quickly at the very start of prep. Now, that's for a couple of reasons, I think. One, because I really don't like being super duper aggressive right out of the gate, because I don't want to cut unnecessarily, but time is of the essence. You know, even though I am competing basically in next September, I am breaking it down into different phases, and right now I am slightly behind on what I have planned. So maintenance calories, that term gets thrown around a lot, and I just wanted to cover that a little bit today. So technically, maintenance is basically the calories that you could maintain a certain body weight at. Now, when I was dieting before, I look back in my old logs, my maintenance was roughly 475 grams of carbs a day. So that was my starting point, and my calories were roughly like 3,500. So I was eating 290 grams of protein and 75 grams of fat with that 475 grams of carbs. Now, I did make a few changes to my diet this past week that were well under those numbers, and my weight only moved a little bit. So maintenance is a very relative term. It has to do with the amount of muscle mass that you have and your activity level, obviously how training's been going. So one thing that's definitely changed for me, at least what I've kind of reflected on this past week, was my activity level. Obviously, the winter is here. I'm not as active as I normally am in the summer. In the summer, you know, we would go for walks, or I'd go for just bike rides just for the hell of it. I'd be outside a lot more, you know, cutting the grass. So I would say my activity level is down. I'm not one to keep track of steps. I don't have a Fitbit or anything. It does keep track on my phone, but honestly, I really don't look at it. That might be something that I look for in the future. So I think that's one of the biggest contributing factors. Since it is the winter time and my activity level is down, my maintenance calories might not be the same as I was over the summer, just because I was more active. My wife and I would go hiking, a couple times a month. So that really, had my energy expenditure up. Now, I'm not really doing that since it's a little bit colder. The activities just aren't there. So I think that's one of the reasons why my weight is not really coming off right now. And I'm gonna have to, keep that in the back of my head when it is time to start incorporating cardio. Now, for the first part of my diet, I didn't want to do any cardio. I don't plan on doing any cardio. I'm just going to let all of the dieting take care of my fat loss. So that's why I just wanted to cover a little bit of maintenance calories. I don't like when people really use the term too much because maintenance is always a moving target. Like I said earlier, it depends on a couple different factors, and obviously my factors are changing. Now, one factor that has changed for the better for me since then is obviously, my back was injured, and my training has improved greatly. My intensity is up in the gym, so that is one of the factors that's actually helping me, trying to lose weight. The decreased activity overall is probably one of the factors that's holding me back from losing weight. A couple other changes that I made this week. I did have to wait 8 weeks to get to cycle off of them, but I'm going back on Core Hard, Core Alpha, and 5AT. So those are the only really changes in my supplementation. I'm going to run those for 8 weeks, and then I'm going to run Core Test for 8 weeks and just kind of go back and forth between those two for the entire length of my prep. So other than that, I'll put the changes in the video like I always do on the posing video, and I'll have some training footage at the end. So once again, guys, thanks for tuning in, and enjoy. See you later. Alright, what is up, guys? We're going to show you some footage from my high rep leg day. And we're starting off with 4 sets of 15 to 20 on leg extensions here. And I'm really focusing on squeezing at the top, especially in the early sets. As the later sets come on, form gets a little loose, but really just driving as much blood into the muscle as possible. Up next is prone leg curls. I do this one a little bit differently. If you could draw a straight line from head to toe, you're noticing that I hold myself up from the bench. This just gives me a lot better activation in my hamstrings. I've always struggled with activation in my hamstrings for the longest time, and I feel like changing my body position up a little bit This allows for a much better contraction at the top. As you see, my range of motion does get a little bit less because I am trying to hit different parts of the hamstring as I go along. I do want to show you guys some foot position here. I tend to turn my feet slightly out or to keep them vertical. When you turn your feet out just a little bit, it kind of hits the outside of the hamstring. That's more or less of my weak point that I'm trying to focus on. And yes, I also do glute kickbacks, not just for bikini girls. Mainly the reason why I do glute kickbacks is basically because my back has been hurt, and any kind of hip hinge movement aggravates it. So I try to limit the amount of movements that I do with that. So here I'm just doing cable kickbacks once again to about 20 reps. Going on to calves, I do these a little bit differently too. You'll notice that I pause at the bottom, and that's really just to get my Achilles tendon out of it, and then I'm really squeezing hard at the top. So I pause at the bottom, drive up, squeeze at the top, hold, and then repeat. Once again, these are about 20 reps too. I didn't film the full set here because no one really wants to see me do a ton of calves. This is going to be another angle of the calf, just so you can see how long it is at the bottom. Pause, and then right back up. This one's going to be more or less of a finisher for my hamstrings. I just started doing this, and really I'm just trying to flex my hamstrings by drawing my feet back in. I know it may look a little bit odd, and this is just something that you're going to have to try for yourself, but it really gives me a good contraction. A little bit of stability works for my core too, which never hurts. And then this is just another angle, and you can see my hamstrings contracting as I bring my feet closer to my butt. And then coming up next is going to be some posing footage. So I'll just leave you guys off to that. This is where I'm currently sitting at right now.